Wizards. So today I'm coming to you with a little bit of a different one where I want to talk to you guys about some of the dumb that's surrounding Ambi lowers after I've done some more testing and tested out more products. Now, though, what's interesting though is as I was putting some of the finishing touches on this video, Hop and Brass Facts actually already did a video covering this whole subject, and I think they did a really good job talking about it.
Let's pretend I'm left-handed, which, as we all know, is the worst thing a person can be.
And I was about to come out here and I was like, you know, I probably don't even need to make this video. Brass Facts' points were so solid and he covered it so well. But then I was like, no, it really sends a message home if you have 3 different content creators that are all kind of behind the curtains of the firearm industry, and we're all kind of saying the same thing, that these are all kind of dumb. So today I'll share the top 5 reasons why you don't need an Ambi lower. Listen, I'm even a lefty and I've always thought Ambi controls were for me, but I can add in these controls for like 20 bucks. So I really don't get it. We'll get into the whole list and even how there's really only one Ambi lower you should even consider anyway, and it's the same one Brass Facts even mentioned. We'll get to it, but first, sponsor love. Today's video is sponsored by HRT Tactical Gear. HRT provides industry-leading team-based products such as the L-Back to give you a load-bearing carrier solution, along with their new Recon placard to offer you expansion for different size inserts to give you one placard that can do anything. I really thought when doing that review of the Recon placard, it was really awesome for new users that wanted to try out a bunch of different configurations, but didn't want to have to buy all these separate bits of gear. HRT also has their new belt and their new plate carrier coming out that they teased at SHOT Show that I'll be showing to you soon. And as always, you can use discount code TLDco on anything from HRT that I mentioned or anything else on the HRT website. Big thanks to HRT for always giving us some love and supporting whatever ridiculous we're doing here like we're doing today. And let's do some biases now, and this one's kind of interesting because I don't really have any. I like saving money like the rest of you, and when I spend 5 times the cost of one product to the other, I'm expecting to get something pretty crazy. And then when I use it and I'm like, well, this kind of sucks, and it happens over and over, I start to gain some biases because I don't like just wasting money. So due to the fact that I have wasted some money on some things, and I don't just like burning large pots of money and getting nothing in return, I am biased. But it's thanks to our Patreon supporters that we can say and do whatever we want, and we're gonna test these all, and I'm gonna show you some of the truth behind all this. So if you like our more unfiltered style, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. But don't take anything that I say or any other YouTuber says as gospel. I tell you guys this all the time. Do your own research so you can be the most educated consumer possible. I'm just gonna help a little. See, I told you it was gonna be fast, but let's talk about what an Ambi lower is before I explain to you how you don't need one, so we can be on the same page. You'll see a lot of these sold with just stupid price tags. And these lowers have unique designs to give you mag release functionality on the left side, and then have some sort of bolt catch, bolt release added to the right side. You often see an Ambi safety or charging handle, but those don't require a unique lower at all. It's become this annoying new idea that adding your own proprietary system adds some level of prestige, and that level of prestige comes with some ridiculous level of cost. But in reality, when using them and testing them and seeing all these different brands, that extra cost comes with no real benefit at all. How you're gonna see with most of these, you pay extra for a feature that you probably wouldn't wanna use anyway. But let's get into my first reason why you don't need an Ambi lower. And the first one is, you can add this stuff in for like 20 bucks. As I said, Ambi lowers are just adding in a mag release for the lefties or a bolt catch for the righties. As a lefty, I just add in the CMMG one for like 20 aliens, and I have all the functionality I need. For righties, you can add a bad lever, but they don't work for a lot of lowers, so be aware of that. The Phase 5 extended bolt release is more expensive, but just a far, far better product. As either the CMMG mag release or like the Phase 5 or the bad lever can be added to any standard mil-spec lower, you can just add that functionality in. Now, you could also install like the Phase 5 lever and a left side mag release, but that would be pretty doofy. I say that because there's always some Instagram pain eater that's gonna tell you that he not only needs to swap shoulders, but he also needs to be able to swap hands. That is the stupidest garbage ever. No instructor in a class is ever gonna tell you that. I mean, GBRs may because they say some pretty dumb stuff, but no LEO instructor, no CQB instructor, they're not gonna tell you to switch hands. If anything, you can swap shoulders, and this is sometimes taught, but rarely actually used. Swapping your hands is stupid, and you should make fun of people who even mention this. It's hilarious because it's something people on Instagram do because they just don't know better. They think they need Ambi controls because they need to swap hands and swap shoulders when it's just an education problem. That doesn't make any sense. And they're like, oh, if I go do CQB or room clearing, I gotta switch hands and switch shoulders for which door I go into. No, that's the education problem. That's not a thing. Now, the fact that you can add this in for like 20 bucks segues me into reason number 2 as to why you don't need an Ambi lower. Most of the Ambi lowers on the market kinda suck. Let's be honest, paying extra for some of these systems makes little to no sense. The LMT design, for example, is nothing special for me as a lefty. They added a mag release to the left side. Cool, whatever. For righties, they have this bolt catch bolt release that's like an inch or more further back, making for some super awkward weapon manipulation that'll have you going, why in the world did I want this? What a pain in my ass. And Hop and Brassfax mentioned this exact same lower with the exact same issues. And me as a lefty, I look at it and I go, yeah, I'm pretty glad that I'm not using that because that looks pretty dumb. Other lowers are just overly complicated, like the Radian with this ADAC system that locks the bolt back when you drop a mag. As a lefty, I never used it, so it seemed like a waste as the left side operated exactly like any other lower. The button on the right side is easy to hit, but that's only the bolt release. So you could release the bolt on the right, but if you want to lock it back, you gotta drop your mag because it's in the mag release. It's just, why are you paying 500 drunk monkeys for that? As I saw more and more lowers and more products, I just kept coming back to the same idea of why am I or anybody else gonna pay extra for this when it kind of sucks? And that segues us into reason number 3 as to why you don't need an Ambi lower. They require extra training for things that you already do just fine. The LMT, as we mentioned, would mean righties need to learn to break their grip to manipulate the weapon, which actually may not be ideal. The Radian means you gotta train with it knowing that your mag is just gonna drop on the ground if you want your bolt to lock back. Hilariously, for lefties, you just get the added mag release, which means you don't need to train anything extra, but it also means as a lefty with an Ambi lower is, again, I keep saying this, it's kind of stupid. That's definitely how I feel with this. Like, as a lefty, I'm constantly going, why would I need Ambi controls? And the answer is, I don't. I just need to add in a mag release on this side and maybe an Ambi safety. I mean, hell, the IWI gives you a safety out of the box. You can just swap sides. Most people don't even know that it does that, but that's really all you need. As a lefty, I just need this mag release and I don't know, maybe you can swap the safeties. I really actually don't care. And sometimes you'll see these style of safeties. I don't hate them. The small nubbin is usually pretty pointless anyway. The only reason I'd recommend them is so you can shoot in a more precision style with same side thumb if you like doing that. The more you train and the more you use your weapon system, you start to realize that a lot of these things that add a ton of extra cost really aren't that required. And that's the perfect segue into reason number 4 as to why you don't need an Ambi lower. Kind of talk about like all the extra pieces, the cost. At 400 to 500 overwound YouTube employees, Ambi lowers are insanely expensive while offering you no real advantage over the 20 monkey options. Sure, you get some sort of internet clout for wasting more money than your neighbor, but the guy with the smart additions to a standard lower is the one that I would give the head nod because I know they actually know what they're doing. So yeah, actually, the more I think about it, if you do your firearms work primarily for Instagram, then yes, Ambi lowers are 100% for you. Otherwise, no. Now, for the last reason you shouldn't get an Ambi lower, this one's kind of a weird one and kind of a cheat, but it basically is, if you're just dead set on getting an Ambi lower, then just get the Griffin Mark II. This lower gives you a shelf for the lefties so you can feel you're in the right place for the mag release, while also giving righties a more forward bias control that's easy to lock or drop the bolt. Plus, it doesn't tie weird functionality together like the mag release and the bolt catch. The crazy part too is, this only costs a little bit more than a standard lower, and if you're just gonna get a regular lower and then add in the Ambi functionality like I mentioned at the beginning, it'll probably cost you about the same to just get the Griffin Mark II lower and have all that stuff tied in. Now, some people are gonna make the argument about the 80M. This one is billet style. Otherwise, it's exactly the same for 5 times the price. Billet is weaker overall. It's the same exact design, so I don't actually recommend that one at all. But that's it. I guess in the end, I'm just echoing what other content creators are saying. I just want you to save money and get good products. And I really hope we're getting a bit of the industry to change their mind about Ambi lowers. They're not a prestige thing. They're just not. When you're losing some functionality or it just works worse than a standard lower. But I hope this video on the top 5 reasons on why you don't need an Ambi lower was useful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon and YouTube members. You make it possible we can test all these things, see all these different products, and come back and say to you, you know what, some of these are kind of crappy. And I want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below if you have a lower that you think is worth it that uses Ambi, or Ambi controls that you think people should put on their standard mil-spec lowers, or just your idea on Ambi. I think most people don't need that once they understand how things actually get used. All right, I'm rambling at the end. Later, everybody. I gotta move my mic for this because I know you guys have seen this. This is so silly. I'm gonna see somebody's video where they're gonna be like, okay guys, here's how you change hands. What you do is you come here, put your hand here, you come over here, you do this, and look at this. You just made your transition. Look how much better you are at using your guns. No, that makes no sense. Make fun of those people.